The las bolt tears through your chest, and suddenly you can feel everything. The ceramite tip pinches through flak armor like parchment, and in that microsecond before the energy discharge, you feel it. A fist-sized hole where your left lung used to be. Then the heat comes, searing, cauterizing. Your ribcage cracks and fragments spray inward, puncturing what remains of your organs. You're on your back now, staring up through your cracked gas mask lens at a sky the color of old wounds, purple and gray and choked with smoke. Your hands try to clutch the wound, but there's nothing to clutch anymore, just wet heat spreading across your greatcoat. The sound of las fire continues around you, but it's getting distant, muffled, like you're underwater. This is it. 23 years of existence, and this is the moment you were manufactured for. And what surprises you most is the feeling washing through your dying brain. Not fear, not regret, not even pain anymore. Just peace. Crystal pure peace. You're bleeding out in the toxic mud of Vraks Prime, surrounded by the corpses of your batchmates, and this is the most beautiful moment of your entire life. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you how a manufactured child from a dead world learned to find redemption in death. Stay with me. This won't take long. I'm dying anyway. First, you need to understand Krieg. Everything starts there. Close your eyes. Not that I have a choice anymore. My eyelids are getting heavy. And picture it. Krieg is not a world. It's a sin made manifest. A graveyard wrapped in poison air. 5 centuries ago, in 433.M40, the Council of Autocrats who ruled our hive world grew fat, paranoid. They resented the administratum's tithes. They hated imperial oversight. And on the feast of the Emperor's Ascension, the High Autocrat did the unthinkable. He declared independence. He renounced the Emperor. He claimed Krieg for himself. This is the sin. This is the weight every Krieger carries. Civil war erupted instantly. Most of the planet fell to the rebels within weeks. But one hive held. Hive Farograd, under the command of Colonel Jerton of the 83rd Krieg Regiment. Jerton was given his orders from Segmentum Command: hold Krieg at all costs. No reinforcements are coming. Do whatever is necessary. So Jerton made the choice that defined Krieg forever. He went into the secret weapons vaults beneath Farograd. Working with Archmagos Greel, he unlocked the forbidden armaments, nuclear weapons, atomic bombs, and he used them. Not against military targets, against everything. He turned Krieg into a radioactive tomb rather than let it fall to heresy. The nuclear fire burned for days. The ecosystem collapsed. Nuclear winter set in. But the Civil War didn't end. It dragged on for 500 years. 15 generations of soldiers who never saw their world the way it was, who only knew war in the ashes. In 949.M40, the Imperium finally returned to Krieg. They found the Loyalists victorious, but the world was dead. Dead, but loyal. The Imperium accepted Krieg back into the fold, but the debt remained. Billions had died in rebellion. The sin must be paid for, in blood, in service, in death. Every child born on Krieg since that day exists for one purpose: to die in such glorious service that eventually, after millions of deaths, after oceans of blood, the sin might be forgiven. My vision is blurring now. The purple sky is darkening at the edges. But here's what you need to understand about how I got here, how I ended up on my back in this mud, grateful to be dying. I wasn't born. That's the first thing. Birth is inefficient. Pregnancy takes 9 months. Childhood takes years. Krieg doesn't have that luxury. I was grown in a Vitae Womb deep beneath the surface, thousands of meters down where the radiation doesn't reach. My first memory, I can see it now, clear as the shattered sky above me, is darkness, warmth, floating in amniotic fluid, the hum of machinery vibrating through the tank. You develop faster than a natural child. Chemical cocktails fed directly into your forming brain. And while you float there, before consciousness fully forms, they're already programming you, hardwiring certain truths into your neurons. Krieg failed the Emperor. You exist to atone. Death in service is redemption. Fear is weakness. Pain is temporary, but duty is eternal. These aren't lessons, they're architecture. By the time you take your first breath, you already believe them the way you believe in gravity. Decanting day comes when you're physically equivalent to an 8-year-old. The tank drains. You hear it first, the hiss of pressure equalizing, the gurgle of fluid evacuating. The seal breaks with a wet pop. Cold air hits your skin and you gasp, coughing up fluid. And the first breath you ever take is Krieg's poisoned air filtered through a rebreather mask. You've never breathed anything else. You never will. Your legs collapse. You hit the metal grating, wet and shivering. Hands in thick gloves drag you to a processing station. Chemical wash. The spray is freezing. Inoculations, 16 needles in rapid succession. They tattoo a 12-digit designation on your left forearm. 568-332-8891. That's your name. That's all you'll ever be.
Then they take you to the assembly hall where 500 other children stand dripping and shivering, all from the same genetic template, all decanted within the same week. Your batch. The only family you'll ever know, though you'll never use that word because emotional attachment is inefficiency. The first instructor you see is a veteran with no legs. His body is welded into a crude wheelchair frame made from tank parts. He rolls between the rows and his voice is emotionless behind his gas mask. "You are soldiers," he says. "Krieg has no children." The sound echoes in the chamber. 500 wet, shivering bodies stand at attention. Your world committed heresy 5 centuries ago. Every breath you take is stolen from the Emperor until you pay it back with your death. Most of you will die in training. This is acceptable. The weak serve the Imperium by dying early and not wasting resources. The strong will bring glory. He pauses. The wheelchair hums. Now get dressed. They hand you a greatcoat too large for your small frame, boots that don't fit, a gas mask that becomes your face. Trading begins immediately. No transition, no adjustment period. They march you to the surface that same day. The first time you see the sky of Krieg, you understand why the mask never comes off. Purple clouds churn overhead, fat with radiation. The rain that falls will burn exposed skin in seconds. The temperature hovers just above freezing even at midday. The landscape stretches in every direction, flat and featureless except for ruins. Shattered hive spires, collapsed buildings, and trenches. Kilometers of trenches, preserved in the toxic environment for 500 years. This is your classroom. An instructor hands you an entrenching tool, the sharpened spade that will become more familiar than your own hands. "Dig," he says. So you dig. You extend the trench line, deeper, wider. Proper firing steps, proper drainage. You dig until your hands bleed inside your gloves. You dig until your back screams. The child next to you collapses from exhaustion. The instructors drag him away. You never see him again. You keep digging. Because digging is what you'll do for most of your life. And if you can't dig, you're already dead. I can hear the fighting still. Somewhere above me, my regiment is pushing forward, taking the objective, boots thundercast. Someone steps on my hand. I don't feel it. Everything below my chest is numb now. But I can still remember. I can still see it all clearly. Listen, this is important. The training. The way they break you down until you're not a person anymore. You're a tool. The gas mask becomes your face. Within a month, you forget what you look like. You've never seen your reflection without the mask. When you look at your batchmates, you see only masks. And they see the same in you. Individual identity is inefficiency. You are not a person, you are a tool. You are a lasgun that walks. The training is designed to kill a third of you before deployment. This is not cruelty, this is quality control. You learn to fire the Lucius pattern lasgun, the distinctive Krieg weapon with a slower rate of fire but harder hitting shots. You learn to fix bayonets, 45 centimeters of steel, longer than a sword. You learn to use your entrenching tool to kill. In the tight confines of a trench when your lasgun is empty and your bayonet is broken, a sharpened spade can take a man's head off with one swing. The instructors run you through live fire exercises, real ammunition, real explosives. If you're not at risk of death, they explain, you won't learn to respect the battlefield. So they fire at you. They shell the trenches you're defending. They send you over the top while heavy stubbers rake the ground ahead. Some of you get hit. Some of you die. Your batch loses 40 soldiers in training before you ever fire at an actual enemy. You watch them fall and you feel something strange. Not grief. Envy. They died in training, which is less glorious than dying in combat. But at least they died in service. At least they contributed something. One day they march your entire batch into a sealed chamber. You hear the hiss of gas entering the vents. Chemical weapons. Military grade. Remove your masks, the instructor says through the external vox. You remove your mask. The gas hits like inhaling molten metal. Your lungs burn. Your eyes water until you can't see. Your skin blisters. You vomit blood. Half the batch collapses. But you stay standing. Even though every breath feels like inhaling fire, because collapsing means failure, and failure means you're not worthy. After an hour, they let you put your masks back on. One day to recover, then they do it again. And again, building resistance, building immunity. By the end, you can tolerate exposure levels that would kill a normal human in minutes. This is not torture, this is preparation. The enemies of the Imperium love gas attacks, but gas doesn't kill Kriegers. You've been breathing poison since you were conscious. A little more doesn't matter. The Death Rider training happens in parallel. Only 1 in 50 qualify for cavalry. You're not selected. You'll be infantry, but you watch them train on their mutated horses, creatures larger and more aggressive than normal steeds, fitted with gas masks like their riders. You watch them charge across the dead plains with lances leveled. There's something terrible and beautiful about it. War the way it was fought on ancient Terra, preserved in this nightmare world. You'll see them in battle later, and you'll understand why the enemy breaks when they hear the thunder of hooves through the smoke. The final test comes when you're 15. They divide your batch into 2 forces. They give you live ammunition. They tell you to fight. Not a simulation, an actual battle. Half your batch tries to take a fortress, half defends it.
The soldier 3 meters to your left explodes. A bolter round detonates in his chest cavity. Wet. Loud. He drops. You don't flinch. You keep walking. The ground is soft with decomposition. You slip on something that used to be a person. Your boot sinks into a rib cage. You pull free. Keep walking. 70 meters from the enemy trench, the artillery starts. Earthshaker shells scream down. The sound is like reality tearing. Then the impacts. Boom. The pressure wave picks you up and slams you back down. Your ears are ringing. Your mask is cracked. Through the spiderweb of fractures, you can taste Vraks's air. Bitter. Chemical. You get up. 50 soldiers went down in the barrage. Some are dead. Some are screaming. You step over them. Keep advancing. Orders are orders. 14 meters now. 30. The heretics are visible in their trench, firing frantically. 20 meters. You can see their faces, the fear. 10 meters. You reach the parapet and jump down. The trench is chaos, close quarters combat. The heretic guard wear corrupted versions of imperial uniform, chaos symbols painted over their unit markings. One lunges at you with a bayonet. You parry with your entrenching tool, bring it down on his collarbone. The crack of bone breaking, the wet sound of steel in flesh. He falls. Another appears from a dugout. You shoot him point blank. The lasbolt burns through his stomach. He drops, clutching the wound. The smell of cooked meat. You keep moving. Every corner is an ambush point. Every dugout could hide enemies. You clear them methodically. Room by room, trench by trench. Your las gun runs hot. You switch power packs. The click of the magazine ejecting, the hum as the new pack connects. Your batchmate 56833288794 appears around a corner. His greatcoat is soaked in blood. He nods once. You nod back. Together you clear the next section. By the time the objective is secure, you've killed 8 heretics, taken 40 meters of trench. 200 Kriegers went over the top in your section. 91 came back. This is acceptable. This is victory. The colonel transmits a single word across the Vox network. Adequate. Not well done, not congratulations. Adequate. Because adequate is all that's required. And here's the thing that would make other regiments laugh or cry. Hearing adequate from a Krieg officer fills you with something close to pride. You did your job. You met the standard. What more could you want? The siege becomes your life. Days stretch into weeks, weeks into months. You eat corpse starch rations. You sleep standing in flooded dugouts. Trench foot sets in. Your toes go numb, then black. You ignore it. Half your batch has gangrene. All of you have pneumonia. But you don't report to the Medicae unless you literally cannot walk. Because time in the Medicae tent is time not fighting. You can die later. Right now, there's work to do. The rain is constant. Not real rain, just chemical precipitation from the poisoned atmosphere. It fills the trenches with toxic sludge that eats through boot leather. You stand in it for 18 hours a day. Your skin cracks and bleeds. This is normal. This is what life looks like on Vraks. I'm losing feeling in my legs now. Or I would be if I still had legs. I think they're gone. Blown off or shredded. I can't tell anymore. The pain is distant, fading, but I can still remember the Commissar. This is important. You need to understand what he taught us. The Commissar attached to your regiment is named Voss. He's not from Krieg. He's the only non-Krieger in the entire regiment. At first, you don't understand his purpose. Commissars are supposed to prevent cowardice, but no one in your regiment has ever retreated. Ever. Then you see what he actually does. After a particularly brutal assault, your company took 80% casualties but failed to take the objective, the Vox crackles. All units, reform for second assault. Objective remains. We must. Negative. It's Commissar Voss. His voice is different from the Krieg officers. There's emotion in it. You've done enough. Pull back. Regroup. The captain argues. The objective remains. We must. Captain, Voss's voice is hard now. If you order these men to attack again right now, I will shoot you for wasting the Emperor's resources. Silence on the Vox. These soldiers aren't afraid to die, Voss continues. That's the problem. You'll throw them away on an objective we can take tomorrow with artillery support. The Emperor needs them alive. The captain stops, considers. Understood, Commissar. You realize then what the Commissar is for. Not to make Kriegers attack, to stop them from dying wastefully, to preserve troops for strategic objectives rather than letting them throw themselves away in futile gestures. It's a strange reversal. The Commissar's job is to shoot officers who are too fanatical, too eager to die. You've heard stories. A regiment in the northern sector. The captain ordered a bayonet charge against a fortified bunker, suicide mission. The Commissar refused to authorize it. The captain drew his pistol on the Commissar, calling him a coward. A Krieger watchmaster shot the captain. He failed the Emperor, he said. He would waste us for nothing. The Commissar nodded. Exactly.
Later, over Vox chatter, you hear Cadians talking about it. One of them says something that sticks with you. The Kriegers are so fanatical, they need Commissars to stop them from being heroic. It's insane. They're insane. His buddy responds, yeah, but they never break, never retreat, never question orders. The Munitorum loves them. Of course the Munitorum loves them. They're not people. They're resources that walk. And here's what would be funny if it mattered. He's not wrong. You are a resource. A walking, thinking resource that costs exactly 847 throne geld to produce, train, equip, and transport to the front line. When you die, the Administratum will file Form 88C, Asset Loss Report. Your death will be tallied in a column. Acceptable attrition within predicted parameters. And you're fine with this. You're grateful for it. Because at least you're useful. At least you matter in the calculus. You are part of the great machine that is the Imperium, a cog that grinds forward. And when the cog breaks, the machine replaces it and moves on. This is beautiful. This is purpose. 8 months into your deployment, you see the Death Riders in action. It's the most glorious thing you'll ever witness. Intelligence reports a heretic supply convoy moving through a valley 3 kilometers from your position. The 17th Death Rider Squadron is deployed to intercept. You watch from the trench line as they mount up. 200 cavalry on mutated horses, each beast fitted with a gas mask, each rider carrying a lance and saber. They form up in perfect ranks, The horses snort, steam rises from their nostrils. The ground trembles as they move into position. Then the charge begins. The thunder is incredible. Even from 3 kilometers away, you can feel it. The ground shakes. The sound rolls across the wasteland like an avalanche. The heretics try to form a firing line, but it's too late. The Death Riders hit them at full gallop. Lances punch through flak armor. You can hear the impacts, wet, final. Sabers take heads. The horses themselves are weapons, trampling anyone who doesn't get out of the way. The entire convoy is destroyed in 4 minutes. The Death Riders wheel around, charge again, finishing the wounded. Then they ride back, lances bloody, horses snorting. 3 riders are missing. Acceptable losses. The convoy is destroyed. Objective complete. You feel something watching them return. Not admiration, envy. They got to participate in something beautiful, something terrible and ancient and glorious. You're just infantry. You dig and you shoot and you die in the mud. But at least you die. The heretics try a gas attack in month 11. Listen, this is where you understand the difference. This is where you see what Krieg really means. They shell your positions with chemical weapons. Yellow-green fog rolls across no man's land like something alive. The gas is thick enough to see, to taste even through your filters. In the adjacent sector, the Cadians panic. Their gas masks are basic, designed for emergency use, not sustained exposure. They fall back to secondary positions. You can hear it on the Vox. Gas, gas, falling back to... Second platoon, retreat to... We can't see, we can't... Static, screaming, then silence. But your regiment doesn't even slow down. The whistle blows, you advance through the gas. The heretics are celebrating what they think is a successful attack. They're not expecting anyone to come through it. You hit their trench before they realize you're there. Close combat in 0 visibility. You kill by sound, by touch. Your entrenching tool finds targets you can't see, the wet thunk of steel meeting flesh. When the gas clears an hour later, you've taken 80 meters of trench, 0 casualties. The other regiments start to understand after that. The corpse hand isn't like them. You're not normal soldiers, you're something else. Something that doesn't fit into their understanding of how humans are supposed to behave. They start giving you the worst assignments, the impossible objectives, the suicide missions. This is fine. This is what you want. The worse the odds, the more glorious the death. My hearing is going now. The sounds of battle are fading, replaced by a high-pitched ringing, but I can still remember the announcement, the moment I knew my death would finally matter. 14 months in, the announcement comes. Final assault. The 88th Siege Army is launching a coordinated offensive to break through to the Citadel. Intelligence estimates 100% casualties for the first wave. 100%. Every soldier who goes over the top will die. High Command needs volunteers. Your entire regiment volunteers, all 3,000 of you. The Commissar has to physically restrain some of the younger soldiers. They're arguing with officers who don't select them, getting aggressive. One actually raises his lasgun before a watchmaster puts him down. The colonel chooses 500 for the first wave. You're selected. This is the greatest honor of your life.
You have 72 hours to prepare. You clean your Lucius pattern lasgun. You sharpen your entrenching tool until the edge gleams. You check your gas mask seals 3 times. You write your designation number on a piece of paper. Seal it in a waterproof container. Put it in your pocket. Not for you, for the records, so they can tally the dead accurately. Efficiency matters. You spend the last night standing in the trench, watching the citadel in the distance, the heretic fortress where Cardinal Safan commands his forces. The objective you will never reach, but you'll die trying. You're not afraid. You haven't been afraid since you were 8 years old and they taught you that fear is weakness. You're excited, eager. Tomorrow you'll die and that death will matter. That death will buy meters of ground, and those meters will contribute to eventual victory, and that victory will add 1 drop to the ocean of blood that Krieg owes the Imperium. This is beautiful. Dawn comes. The artillery barrage starts. The sound is like the end of the world. 5,000 guns firing simultaneously. Earthshaker cannons, Medusa siege guns, basilisks, bombards. The shells scream overhead in waves, continuous, relentless. The ground shakes so hard you can barely stand. Your teeth rattle, your bones vibrate. This barrage is meant to obliterate everything, to turn the heretic fortifications into rubble. It lasts 4 hours. 4 hours of continuous thunder that makes your ears bleed. When it stops, the silence is physical, oppressive. You can hear your heartbeat, taste your pulse. The whistle blows. You climb the ladder. You go over the top. 500 Kriegers advance in perfect formation. Not running, walking, a steady, measured pace, like you're on parade. Dress right, dress, keep the line. The heretics start firing. Heavy weapons, small arms, artillery of their own. The soldier on your left takes a heavy stubber round through the faceplate. His mask explodes. He drops without a sound. You keep walking. 60 meters ahead, an autocannon opens up. The distinctive thud, thud, thud of heavy rounds. 3 soldiers disintegrate into red mist. You keep walking. 100 meters, the ground erupts with mines. A chain reaction of explosions tears through the left flank. Bodies fly, limbs separate. 40 soldiers gone in seconds. You keep walking. 200 meters, the heretic artillery finds your position. Medusa shells. The first one lands in the middle of your formation. The pressure wave picks you up, throws you 5 meters. You hit the ground hard. Your mask cracks further. You can taste blood. Yours or someone else's, you don't know. Get up. Keep walking. 300 meters. Half your force is dead. The survivors maintain formation. Keep the line. Dress right, dress. 350 meters. You can see individual heretics now, their faces, the fear in their eyes. That's when the heavy bolter finds you. You're walking forward, lasgun at port arms, when you feel the impacts. 3 rounds, chest, stomach, hip. Mass reactive bolts. They punch through your flak armor. For a microsecond you feel the physical shells embedded in your flesh, then they detonate. Your chest cavity explodes from the inside. You feel your ribs fragment. Feel them puncture your lungs, your heart, your intestines shred. Your hip shatters. The pelvis cracks like porcelain. The kinetic force throws you backward. You're airborne. Then you hit the mud, hard, face up.
Your lasgun is gone, blown away by the blast. Your entrenching tool is still on your belt, but you can't move your arms. You can't move anything. Through your shattered mask lens, I watch your batchmates continue advancing. They step over you, some step on you. They don't notice. This is correct. You're debris now. An obstacle. They have an objective. I watch them reach the heretic fortifications, watch them throw grenades into firing slits, watch them climb the rebel with bayonets fixed, watch them plant the imperial banner on the highest point. The objective is complete. The fortress is taken. And you helped. You drew fire. You were part of the wave that overwhelmed the defenders. Your death bought seconds. Those seconds mattered. This is the perfect death. The purple sky is almost black now. I can barely see. Just shapes, shadows. The sounds of battle are gone, replaced by silence. Or maybe I'm just deaf. I try to recite the litany of sacrifice, the words our instructors taught us, the words every Krieger knows by heart. But my jaw won't move. My lungs are full of blood. I can't speak. So I think it. For the Emperor and the Imperium, for Krieg's redemption, let my death be payment. Let my blood water the soil of victory. I die in service. I die with purpose. I die free of the sin that was not mine, but which I carry regardless. The Emperor protects. The cold is spreading now, starting in my extremities, working inward. I can't feel my hands anymore, my feet, my legs. The cold reaches my chest. My heart is slowing. I can feel it. Each beat takes longer, weaker. Thud, thud, thud. The darkness at the edges of my vision is closing in. Just a pinpoint of light now, that purple sky I've been staring at. I think about the Vitae Wombs on Krieg. Right now, 3,000 meters below the radioactive surface, 500 new soldiers are being decanted. They're taking their first breath of poison, being numbered, processed, sent to training. In 15 years they'll be here, or somewhere like here, dying in some emperor-forsaken war zone. And they'll die with the same peace I feel now, the same gratitude. The conveyor belt never stops. The debt never decreases. For every Krieger that dies, Krieg produces 3 more. We're not paying down the debt. We're maintaining it. Forever. And I'm fine with that. I'm grateful for it. My heart beats one last time. Weak. Fluttering. Thank you, Emperor. Thank you for letting me matter. Thank you for letting my death have meaning. Thank you for the chance to atone. The light is failing. The purple sky is going dark. I can see the Vitae Womb again, the darkness, the warmth. I'm back in the tank, floating, but this time I'm not being born. This time I'm... The darkness takes me, and I'm finally clean.